There's only 15 people listening to this episode.
Merry Christmas.
All right, this ad was sent in by Craig Breslin. This is a Fender Japan Jazzmaster electric guitar reference number 136576. It's $597 plus $110 shipping. Hello, I've been selling with eBay from Japan, so I can provide you the best. This is Reverb, bruh.
Yep.
Anyway, this item is sold out everywhere in Japan and very hard to get. First come, first serve. Manufacturer, okay, blah, blah, blah. There's a crack in the head, fingerboard, and neck. There is damage in the peg and nut, lacking of tremolo arm. There's paint cracking or peeling and rust hardware. Neck, unknown. Fret, 50 to 60%. Truss rod, unknown. That's like condition, I guess. So basically, this guy does not know, like, he's going to ship this guitar to you and it may fall apart in your hand.
This guitar needs a complete rehaul. I don't think it's going to fall apart in your hands. I liked our theory pre-show that this guitar potentially was a victim of the tidal wave situation because this thing is in rough condition. And it is rusted on every metal bit.
Yeah.
In ways that are not normal.
This switch isn't rusted.
This looks like it was stored somewhere damp.
Yeah,
this isn't rust that happens from hands touching metal. This is something else.
Why wouldn't you at least replace the strings?
Yeah. I mean, and if this guy's trying to sell this thing, getting a new nut from a tech is like 30, 50 bucks. Like he would command more money from this thing. I mean, there's cosmetic issues that don't bother me. I would ding the price for them, but they don't bother me, like the damage on the headstock, as far as like that big chunk of wood that's missing a little bit. You know, the dings and the scratches and stuff. It's relicking. It's a relic guitar. It survived a tsunami, apparently, we suspect. I don't like the pick guard. I would change the pick guard on this if I bought it. And there's some very real damage to this guitar in the headstock area and the nut area. You're going to have to reconstruct some wood around the nut where the nut has broken off and pieces of wood have shattered away. And I thought there was some other extensive damage.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of my problem.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. I mean, this is a big problem. This crack going along the side of the fretboard here. This thing is going to need some real repairs.
So that's my problem with all of this is,
and he wants $700 for it.
Is that he wants 700? Now it's shipping from Japan, so that's probably part of why
you can get a Jazzmaster, not an MIJ, but you can get some very good Jazzmasters on the used market from not too far off from $700. Not $700, but you could get them under $1,000 if you watch the used market long enough. I just feel like this isn't worth the trouble for the price. Like, I think the trouble for the price ratio here is like, this has got to be in the low 400s, high 300s.
Yeah, there's a lot. Now, you know, I didn't look up the serial number, so I don't know. I'm seeing a similar color and pickguard combo from 96, 97, 62 reissue, which is again in my J. But I'm seeing other colors of this. I'm seeing a lot of Paisleys on Reverb.
Oh, nice. How much do those go for?
These are all like $1,000 at but that's where I've gotten to. So here's a Fender Japan traditional 60s jazz at $798.
And it's not like Sunburst is the most desirable color.
It is to me.
A lot of people don't like Sunburst. I like Sunburst.
Here's one that's
if it was a two-tone Sunburst,
$797. So this one, for what it's worth, this one does appear to be the cheapest one on Reverb.
But the damage is extensive.
Yeah, so the neck crack
it better be the cheapest one.
The
on
neck
Reverb.
crack, if it said neck has a side crack repaired and everything else on this was looking good, but it was like the hardware was rusted, but it said that it worked.
I mean, with this rust, it looks like this guitar spent time in water.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. Like what condition the pickups
are
even in.
That's not pitting. That's rust. Which pitting? It's a different kind of
like
rust,
the way the input jack looks, or the output jack, however you think about it, looks like water was leaking out of it for like a year or something like that. Like it's crusty.
That's what the output jack on my Strat looks like.
That's because you pee on it.
What?
I don't know. I had to come up with some reason why it would look that way.
All right.
That's ridiculous, dude. If your jack looks like that, you're doing something weird.
Oh, you know, actually, it's not on my Strat. It's on the Bullet. That's the one that looks like that, and that guitar is just in rough shape. Anyway,
if this was local and there wasn't the $100 shipping on it, I might be tempted in the 500s. Is that fair? To get an MIJ Jazzmaster?
I mean,
that probably needs $150 of repairs.
So is $597? Is that not in the 500s? You're saying like low 500s?
Yeah, low 500s.
I think that's fair because I think so.
Because there's $110 shipping, dude. Like,
honestly, if I saw this guitar on Reverb and it just didn't have strings on it, I would be less concerned about it. The fact that it has like these rusted ass strings on it is part of what like makes me think, man, like
it's like a different kind of neglect.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird.
It does. You agree with me, right? It looks like it spent time underwater.
Yeah.
Like something happened to this. I want to know what the story is.
I mean, I think it definitely could just have been living outside of its case with an open window by
next
the
to a
sea.
sprinkler.
Yeah. You know, whatever.
I don't think this is next to a window levels of corrosion.
Well, and you look at where like some of the rust spots are, like you look at the bridge, a lot of that rust is just there because the strings are gross.
No, dude. The strings and the bridge are rusty. The bridge isn't rusty because the strings are rusty. Look, there's rust on the edges that have nowhere to do with.
But I'm saying there's
the
all like where the saddle is, like most of the rust is concentrated like in the grooves that the string should be
rust
sitting in.
Coming out of the hole you stick the trim arm into.
That's weird.
I'm telling you, there's rust coming out of places where there shouldn't be, like places no one ever touches, places that shouldn't be wet. I mean, no part of a guitar should be wet. Out of all the places on a guitar that should be wet, what do you think should be wet, Steve?
None of the places, but like
probably next to the valve that you open up to replace the tone fluid.
Oh, right,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
I always forget about that spot.
About the tone fluid. It's hidden by your the strap button. Just take off your strap button, you'll find the valve for the tone fluid.
That explains it.
Yeah,
that explains it. I never looked back there.
Do we want to tackle that other topic?